Joining us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, he is the author of the book, The Soul of Basketball. Longtime NBA writer Ian Thomsen joins us here on a Monday night. Ian, how you doing tonight?
Great. How are you doing?
We're doing good. You know, one of the beautiful things about your book, The Soul of Basketball, is that you get into the why behind a lot of things that happened with LeBron's 2010 decision. And I think that one of the most insightful things about the book is the fact that, you know, we see what LeBron did 8 years later, but back in 2010, you get the side of Pat Riley. And the irony is that it was Pat Riley who sold him on going to Miami. And in 2018, it was Pat Riley's player, Magic Johnson, who sold him on going to the Lakers.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but it's true. And, you know, when LeBron first got to Miami all the way back then, he was sitting with Pat Riley, and Riley said to him, look, I know people compare you to Michael Jordan a lot, but to me, you're Magic Johnson. You're the new version of Magic Johnson. And he said that because, you know, LeBron wasn't interested as much in scoring the winning basket as he was in creating it for his teammates. He's a passer by nature. And so now they are working together. And in the years since then, of course, LeBron's become much more of a scorer. I mean, in the playoffs, you saw it. He's as lethal now at the end of the game as Michael Jordan ever was. But it's just going to be really interesting to watch over the next few years, this partnership of Magic Johnson and LeBron James, and they're going to have cap space next summer, and they may even have it the summer after that. And they're just going to be recruiting free agents in to play with LeBron.
When you look at, aside from the scoring, what has been the greatest evolution in your eyes from the 2010 LeBron that you wrote so much about in your book, The Soul of Basketball, to LeBron making the decision in 2018?
I mean, the first thing, by the way, is back then he did a TV show, and it did not serve him well. The decision TV show, it turned him into a national villain. Yeah, and this year he is announcing his departure with like a 2-sentence press release, and so totally low-key in it, doesn't want to draw attention to it, is making it clear that he's not celebrating leaving Cleveland, but that he needs this burst of inspiration. He needs to go to a new team that has cap space, that can build a team that isn't all played out. And the other big thing is just the certainty now. He knows who he is. He's his own man. He's not trying to be the second coming of Michael Jordan anymore. In fact, all the comparisons now with Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, they're really behind him. This is LeBron's league now, and when he's done, everybody that comes up behind him is going to be compared to him. And no one's going to be thinking about Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson anymore.
When LeBron went to the Lakers, when they announced it was me, what was your initial reaction? Like, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Just that it made so much sense. And you just think about what he's going to look like in that uniform. It's just going to be so strange to see, and yet it's just going to ring true. The Lakers live on stars like him, and it just seems right that he's there. They've been bad for 5 years now. Where were they going to find their next leader? Well, they found him. And he may turn out to be the best one yet that they've ever had.
And when you talk about basically yesterday, when the Sixers met with LeBron, there's been a lot coming out about, was that just, you know, a meeting that, you know, was kind of like, okay, you know, we'll just do you a solid. Rich Paul, Ben Simmons, they're there. You know, we'll just do you a solid. But he was always going to L.A., basically.
Yeah, no, it sure looks like he was always going there. Maybe he was just showing respect or trying to help those guys. Maybe he was making sure that he wasn't missing something. You know, right before he was going to the Lakers, he just wanted to double check and make sure there wasn't something that was more attractive about Philadelphia than he had thought. So this was his last chance to look into another situation before he committed to the Lakers.
Because when I look,
by having that meeting, it made him feel all the more certain that he was doing the right thing.
Because when I look at it, I look at it more as, okay, LeBron made this for beyond basketball. Because if it was just basketball reasons, Philadelphia is obviously a better team than LA. So, I mean, in the long story, I think that this was more about being a mogul, his family, you know, after basketball. Not that he doesn't want to still win, but at the end of the day, LA was where he wanted to be regardless of who was going there or not.
You know, I agree with that, but I think ultimately LA is going to be a better basketball team than Philadelphia, just by the nature of the cap space that the Lakers are going to have next year and maybe the year after, and the fact that they can recruit free agents to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers, to play alongside LeBron. So Kevin Durant's going to be a free agent next summer. Anthony Davis can be a free agent the summer after that. And I think all we're going to be hearing about now over the next 2 years is who might be a free agent that might go play with LeBron. And every single great player whose contract is running up will be a legitimate target for the Lakers. And I think if he was in Philadelphia, he wouldn't be able to add the players that he wants to play with. He would play with the guys that are there already. Joel Embiid, who has a history of injuries. Ben Simmons, who has to develop a jump shot. Right now, Philadelphia has more talent than the Lakers team he signed with, but I think that's going to change pretty quick.
That's interesting, Ian, because we were just having a discussion about, because obviously Philadelphia still has Brett Brown as their interim GM. Do you believe that might have hurt them in free agency, not just with LeBron, but just all NBA free agency, because they don't really have a quote-unquote GM in-house? And how do you believe that that will affect them going forward?
Well, going forward, we'll have to see who they hire. But I don't think it really affected them, because really the only big free agent who has left is LeBron. And to go, I agree with what you guys were saying earlier. I don't think he was ever going anywhere else but the Lakers. And it wouldn't matter who the GM of Philadelphia was. It wouldn't have made a difference as far as bringing LeBron to Philadelphia. So I don't know how much that has hurt them, because there just isn't a lot going on there. Now, how are they doing in their negotiations for Kawhi Leonard? Is the lack of a general manager, an experienced general manager, is that hurting them in their negotiations to try to trade for Kawhi Leonard? That might be true.
Talk with Ian Thomsen right now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline on 97.3 ESPN. Author of the book, The Soul of Basketball. If your folks are out there looking for something to read for the summer while you're on the beach, or maybe you're just looking to get a little more educated on the history of basketball, he dives deep into the book. And Ian, before we get back to the book specifically, I want to ask you your perspective. Now that LeBron's out of the East, you have the Sixers, you have the Celtics, people can throw in the Pacers and the Bucks. How do you view the Sixers in the Eastern Conference now? A world without LeBron for the first time since 2003. The East has not had a LeBron in it.
Yeah, it's wide open now. The Celtics have to be the favorite. They were minutes away from reaching the NBA Finals, Game 7 at home. And they are adding Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward to that team. So they have a chance to have legitimately 5 All-Stars, in a weakened Eastern Conference, but nonetheless 5 All-Stars on their team next year. I'm really interested to see if there's going to be a renewal of the old Sixers-Celtics rivalry, if that's going to come to be. And if the Sixers are able to somehow get Kawhi Leonard, then I think that would really be interesting. They may be the best team in the East if they're able to pull off that kind of a trade. Maybe move Markelle Fultz and something else to try to get Kawhi Leonard on their team, and if he's healthy. And then you got Toronto is always going to be there, especially with LeBron out of the way now. They have not. They're at their peak, I think, as a team. And Milwaukee is going to be an interesting team with Giannis Antetokounmpo and a new coach and Mike Budenholzer, who ought to bring real organization to their lineup. They were an underachieving team last year, and I would look for them to make a move up this year.
You know, the Eastern Conference is in an interesting place because Boston's got young players. Philly's got young players. You have the Greek Freak over in Milwaukee. Oladipo was a breakout star last year for the Pacers. The Bulls are in a rebuild. We only don't know what we're going to get from Nick Nurse as the head coach of the Raptors. And then you have Miami. And one of the best things about your book, The Soul of Basketball, Ian, is that you have all of this information, the sit down that you had with Pat Riley giving you all this information. So in 2018, 8 years after the decision, where is Pat Riley in the Miami Heat?
Yeah, it was interesting. He was talking to me about that when it seemed like the rest of the league learned from the example of Pat Riley in 2010 when he gathered up all this cap space. He only had 2 players under contract that summer, and he was able to sign all 3 of the top free agents that summer between LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And so now that's sort of become the standard that a lot of teams now are trying to do that. So he went the other way. He invested in young players and signed them to long-term deals. And I think they've been trying to build up the value of their players in hope of making a trade. I don't know what the future is for them. They have a competitive team, but they don't have a contending team. And they're sort of in that no man's land now, where it's hard to turn the corner. How do you get that great player, especially when free agency seems to be the way to get these guys?
Check out the book, The Soul of Basketball by Ian Thomsen. A great book. Again, if you're at the beach looking for something to read, or maybe you're one of those audiobook guys, listen to it at the gym, whatever you may be doing with books, highly recommend it. Ian, it's a great book. I've highly enjoyed it, and I appreciate your time tonight here on 97.3 ESPN.
Thank you, Ian.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.